Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 11, the nays are 0. On the vote by proxy, and for the record, only the yeas are 4, the nays are 0. On this vote, the yeas are 11, the nays are 0, and the motion is agreed to.
Motion's agreed to. We'll now proceed to the consideration of S. 2866. I ask unanimous consent that the committee consider the Peters substitute amendment as modified to S. 2866 as the underlying bill. Without objection, so ordered. The Improving Government Services Act would require federal agencies that provide critical services to adopt customer service strategies that actually help them to better deliver results to the American people, saving the public hours of time that they spend on hold or from waiting in very long lines. The bill would require these agencies that are high-impact service providers to report on their annual customer service strategies and identify solutions for reducing administrative burdens, streamlining agency services, and addressing backlogs. Reducing backlogs and improving the delivery of government services like passports and veterans benefits are just a few examples of how this legislation could help make the lives of Americans better. Several agencies like the Department of Veterans Affairs have already started implementing certain customer service strategies required in this bill, leading to increased customer trust and satisfaction at the agency. Using these agencies as examples, my bill would extend improvements government-wide. And I'd like to thank Senators Langford and Cornyn for joining me on this legislation, and I'd also want to thank Senator Hawley for his work on this effort as well. My substitute amendment makes several technical edits and changes to address colleagues' concerns, ensuring transparency in service delivery when automation is involved. I would urge my colleagues to support this bill, and does any member wish to offer an amendment? Ranking Member Paul.
This bill takes an executive order, which sounds good on the face of it, wanting to improve customer service. Who could be against that? Makes it permanent law. The problem is when you look at the details of what the administration is currently doing, you see that it's actually part of implementing the woke Biden DEI and climate policies without statutory authority. You don't have to take it from me, though. You can look at the actual executive order from the Biden administration to see what we're talking about. It says that customer service needs to be improved when, among other things, advancing equity and tackling the climate crisis. Hardly things you'd consider when you're thinking about people waiting on the phone for a long period of time. Passing this bill will permanently ratify those efforts and tie the hands of the next president. So I'll be offering Paul Amendment 7. By making new permanent law, this bill would make it more difficult for future presidents to change the Biden dictates. Adding a 2-year sunset will give Congress a say in what the rules look like in the future and let the next president have a say and not be stuck with Biden policies.
In my response to, we're going to be now considering Paul Amendment 7 to S. 2866. This amendment requires GAO to conduct a study on the bill's effectiveness and adds a 2-year sunset to the bill. A GAO report would be duplicative of OMB's role in ensuring compliance of this act, which includes a requirement for OMB to submit annual reports to Congress on its recommendations for customer service improvements across the government. Additionally, a sunset of only 2 years would prohibit agencies from measuring their customer service strategies from year to year. This sunset would remove agencies' accountability in ensuring their customer experience goals are accomplished. I would urge my colleagues to oppose this amendment. Seeing that there is no further debate on the amendment, the question is on adoption. All those in favor of the Paul Amendment will say aye. Aye. All those opposed will say nay. Nay. Majority of members having voted in the negative, the nays have it. The amendment is not agreed to. Does any member wish to offer another amendment? Ranking Member Paul.
This is Paul Amendment 2. This amendment would require the agencies to use existing funds instead of new funds to implement the changes and ensure that DEI and climate change alarmism is not part of the customer. These efforts won't replace the customer experience. So instead of having money go towards things that really have nothing to do with whether you're waiting on the phone with a federal employee to get to you, it would make sure that the current mission of actually trying to provide customer service would be the main thrust of what goes on with this bill.
We will now proceed to consideration of Paul Amendment 2 to S 2866. This amendment would add language that prohibits additional funds from being authorized for the purposes of carrying out the bill. This amendment would remove the possibility to fund implementation of cost-saving customer service strategies. The language would block agencies' ability to implement improvements to key government services, and I would urge my colleagues to oppose the amendment. If there is no further debate on the amendment, the question is on its adoption. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Nay. The majority of members having voted in the negative, the amendment is not agreed to. Does any member wish to offer another amendment?
Paul Amendment 8. If this bill is really about improving customer service, my amendment gives the committee the opportunity to provide real accountability. If agencies fail to live up to their customer experience, if they're not answering the phone, if they're not doing the things that we want them to do for customer service, they would actually have to fire 5 senior employees and replace them with staff who directly interact with the taxpayers. We should not continue to reward poorly performing bureaucrats with high-paying government jobs. Instead, agencies should terminate those positions and reallocate the money to individuals who actually help customers.
We'll now proceed to the consideration of Paul Amendment 8 to S 2866. This amendment would require agencies who don't meet their customer service goals to fire 5 senior employees and reallocate their salaries to other junior employees. Firing employees because agencies don't meet their customer service strategies would have a chilling effect